truth?
Oh, I'm all ears.
Okay. The truth.
I always tell the truth, even when I lie.
Why do you find it so hard to believe?
Why do you find it so easy?
It's never been easy.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth.
All I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
Hello and welcome to Truthful Talk. I am your host. I'm Marco. I'm here with Natalie. Once again, Happy New Year. Happy 2025. We are back for the new year.
Yes.
And ongoing. So, we had a little bit of a break the past month for the winter season.
Yes. And it was cold.
Yeah. And, the holidays. And did you have a nice holiday?
I had a blessed holiday. I really did. Did you?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. It's been really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're back to it again.
Yes, we are.
Back teaching. We're back to the grind. We're back to everything else. And we're back on here with you guys. And it's good to be back.
Yes, it is.
So to start off, though, I'd like to, I just feel we have to discuss this first since it's so current and so happening, is what's happening out in LA with the fires. Just because we have so many people that we know that are out there and, so many friends and colleagues and so forth who are impacted by this. And, I remember just however it was a week and a half ago when all of a sudden I was like, oh, there's fires in California again. I wasn't thinking anything big. It's a yearly occurrence and it just, it happens in California. And I was thinking, okay, so some forests are going to burn again. Hopefully they control it. And I didn't realize it was in populated areas like right away. And it's devastating what's happening as it's because they're being met with two different wind events that are the Santa Ana winds, which is a wind event, and there's some other very rare wind event, which is now pushing the fires, like the embers, like very far and starting more. It's crazy. Just the devastating loss that's happening out there. So we're sending our thoughts and our prayers and yes. Just, I don't know, our hopes for a good recovery out there, hoping that there's no more additional damage or loss of life.
Absolutely.
Is the biggest thing. But it's crazy. Between the hurricanes and the fires and the earthquakes and things are changing.
Things are changing. And it's hard to see it happening right, under our noses, but even that we're in Florida, but getting all this information, when you see something like that, like you said, you think it's just going to be like, oh, okay, they can control it. They've got this under control. And then the next thing you know, it's complete devastation. And there are no words to describe what they're going through.
Yeah, because looking at some of the footage, and I guess I'm, used to more seeing like tornado footage where it just devastates a town. But when a tornado comes through and devastates a town, there's still remnants of things there. Everything's knocked down. But you can still find things in the rubble. This is burned to the ground where there's nothing left.
Yeah.
It's wow. And, at some point this fire will be put out. We'll move on as we do. But this is something that's going to be lasting years. It looks like that, the aftermath of this. And I think of like the hurricanes that we had this past year. These hurricanes were devastating. North Carolina is still dealing with the aftermath of Milton was the one, right? That went up to Carolina.
I believe so. I can Google it.
But there was like we had two strong hurricanes,
scary ones that luckily dissipated from Category 4 to, anyways, and it was still devastating.
It was still devastating, and we move on to it because the hurricane's gone, and now we're onto the fires. But we have to keep thinking of what are people going through. Like the aftermath of the hurricanes, the aftermath of earthquakes and tornadoes and whatever it might be. And I think it's important just to keep putting in the back of our minds that there's a lot of people constantly going through hardship and and difficulties. And just because you're not one of them at this time, it doesn't mean that there aren't real people going through real things right now. And I think we just need to keep that in our thoughts. If there's any way you could donate to any of the emergency relief funds that are out there. And even though, like, for example, like with the hurricanes, even though so much time has passed, it doesn't mean the Red Cross or, whatever it is doesn't need, donate blood, donate money if you can, resources if you can, because this isn't the end. We're going to be seeing more and more of these devastating events. And so the next time, if you're involved with one of those, I would hope people would help you.
Yeah.
And so now's the time to turn and help those that are in need in any way that you can. Any way that you can. I think if nothing else, give blood.
Which is very importante.
It's important and it's an easy one to do.
And it's an easy one to do. And they give you a cookie.
And they usually give you something.
And they give you a cookie.
I mean, here where we are, we have the Big Red Bus. And they even give you like movie tickets and things like that.
Right.
They give you things like that. Or there was one parked out in front of Publix and it was giving like gift cards to Publix.
That's amazing. Well, you're going to need it for Publix.
Right? We're going to need it.
Maybe a loan.
Food prices are about to go up.
Eggs. Anyways. I need to get a chicken.
Yes. Yes. We need to become farmers. And, oh, my goodness. So anyway, all of our thoughts are out to all of you out in California right now. And we love you. We're sending you our love. Okay.
Okay.
Well, there's that. That's a way to start the year. So where do you want to go from here?
I don't know. We were talking earlier about the hesitation for some people to want to enroll in possibly acting class or almost in anything, but mostly with acting class. I see that there's some pushback from people who are so fascinated by the education or the journey of an actor. And I always wanted to do that. And then once you're like, well, like, I don't know, that's scary. I don't know if I could do it,
So we're currently in enrollment right now for our new semester and at Truthful Acting Studios. And it is interesting. And because we just had an open house this past weekend. And in the open house, which is it's basically we open our studios and people can come and see what we're all about, ask questions. There's zero risk involved in an open house.
Right.
Right. You're not enrolling in a class. You're not doing anything. You're just meeting the people and seeing the environment. That's really all it is. And still the hesitancy of people to come to the open house. And we get that feedback. People will tell us once they're there, they're like, well, we almost didn't show up. Like we were so nervous even showing up to the open house because of, and they're not even too sure why, but it's just this nervousness of not knowing, there's an unexpected element. Like, I don't know what I'm going to run into. I don't know if these are going to be nice people. I don't have any experience. So I don't know if when I show up, they're going to look down on me. There's that feeling. Is there going to be a pompous attitude? Is there going to be, because sometimes when you're coming from arts programs, maybe you have people coming from high school art programs, college art programs. Sometimes there is a feeling, you will run into different personalities. And sometimes you're worried about running into that negative flick personality. But it is an interesting thing where people are so afraid to even come into that open house, to even see what it's all about. And then in the open house, we always say, listen, try our program. And what we've done there too, just to see, it's like, okay, listen, we know it's risky, I guess is the way. I mean, meaning, when you're going to sign up for something, especially a program like ours, which is a conservatory program, and it's a lot of money and a lot of time and dedication. So people are like, well, what if I don't like it? What if I get into it? I don't want to spend all this money. And so we even say, take the first 3 classes on us.
Right.
We give everyone the first 3 classes of our first semester.
Yeah.
And it's like, you'll know by the end of the 3rd class whether this is for you. So then it's like, okay, sign up, take the first 3 classes. If by the end of any of those first 3, you say, you know what, this isn't for me, we give your money completely back.
Right. And that's a rarity because people find that after the first 3 classes that they're fascinated, they're interested, they're having a great time, they're learning. And so that's the thing. It's like, okay, so now there's really no risk. But there's that fear. Big time.
Still. People who eventually take classes with us sometimes will say, man, I've been thinking about doing this for 5 years, 6 years. I've been tracking you, reading your newsletters, listening to your podcast, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But I've been following you for a long time. And it was just never the right time. And what do you think about that? Like the excuse of never being the right time?
Oh, that is so seductive because that can mess your whole life up. Your whole life up waiting for the perfect time, waiting for the perfect wave, waiting for the perfect everything. I was just listening to, I think it was Jacko Williams. I think that's his last name, but he talks about like, if you're wondering when the time of when to make a decision, when to do it, he goes, the time is here and now. But he means that because that can take you waiting for Godot. Like you're not doing anything to move towards a goal. And the first thing you should do is make that step. And it's the most difficult thing. But for anything, I think people are just so used to being comfortable in their own little world that when there's interests that call to their soul, really. I really do believe that acting is like, it's a calling. That they spend so much time in the thought process of fantasizing what it could be like instead of like, what can I do to take the steps? I don't know. I think it's for a lot of people have a difficult time executing their will upon something. I work on it myself constantly. So I would just say for everybody that's listening, whatever it is that you want to do, if you spent as much time trying, inquiring, reaching out, gauging people, I think that's a much healthier choice than just having this fantasy in your head and allowing that to play out, because that can go for years. That can go for decades. I promise you, that can go a whole lifetime. And then you'll look back and you'll be like, why didn't I do that? But I think taking the step to inquire, utilizing all of the sources that we have on the internet and the computer, this podcast that you're doing I think is also so important because people can hear who you are, engage your personality in that, because I think people too are afraid of being scammed. And unfortunately, the acting classes, if you will, quote unquote, there's a lot of them out there that are scams. So if you have an interest, I would say like reach out, email, listen to the podcast, check out those people in person to see if you jive with them, because you might not, but it's nice to get information, the intel before you make the commitment. And someone like you who's saying, well, you don't even have to make a financial commitment until after 3 classes if this is what you decide. So I think that a lot of people don't know that. I think they're surprised to hear that. Like, wait a second, okay, I don't need to go in and take my credit card and here we are. So make the first step. Yeah, pick up a phone, email.
Because the fear is real, and it's real easy to get caught up in, well, my schedule is tough. It's like, okay, your schedule's always tough. Yeah. Your schedule's always going to be full.
You must have heard it all.
And I mean, yeah. But it's usually a scheduling thing. It's like, well, work around your schedule. You can do that. It's a work thing. Well, work around that.
Yeah.
It's a family thing. Well, I don't know if I could take time away from my family. I'm like,
oh yeah, that's a good one.
And I'm one for, you need to spend time with your family and you need to prioritize your family to a point. But you don't want to sacrifice yourself for the family, because otherwise you won't have enough of you around anymore. You're going to deplete that.
Yeah. And what better gift to give your family than someone seeing you in your family, that you are pursuing a dream or a goal. That is so beautiful to me.
Right.
It's so gorgeous. And it's just a rare thing when you look at a family member, you're like, wow, you're, doing whatever it is. You're taking Italian, whatever it is, and you're still learning the piano. Like, it's never too late. But when you see someone doing that in your family, it's so inspirational. So yeah, that family one, that's a good one. But there's no better gift, I think, to give the people around you than you pursuing your dream.
I hear that from many times. I might get mostly from mothers or single parents.
I was going to say women.
Yeah, but women have, it's an interesting thing, especially single moms.
Yeah.
Like that type of thing. It's like, well, how could I possibly, what message am I sending my daughter, my son, by going to acting class when I should be there for them because I'm the single parent?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what message are you sending by not doing it? by not doing it, you're sending the message that, okay, when they get older, they need to sacrifice their happiness for their family.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, what type of family are they going to have? Instead, why not send the message of, no, you can do both.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a family and pursue this.
Yes.
And as a child, looking to a parent, seeing them do something they love doing,
Mm-hmm.
you're right. That's
There's
inspirational. That's motivating.
Yeah, there's nothing more purposeful, in my opinion.
Purposeful. That's a great word.
Because what's going to happen, God willing, everything goes to plan. Your kids, go to university, whatever. They're going to move on from your life eventually.
Yeah.
And I don't mean, that's just the way nature is. Right now, you can enjoy the time with them, but they're going to be having their own lives to be led. And what are you left with? What is your identity? What have you cultivated within yourself that you can be with yourself and continuously following your goals and all that,
Right.
So you need something there too. You can't put everything on this one person, to give you, you need to be able to stand on your own is what I'm saying, independently with your own hobbies, goals, desires, and wishes. But if you don't water that plant, you can be lost too. Like, when they leave, I hear a lot of that too. When women are saying that, well, my kids now they're married. I'm single, I've got now 5 cats. I don't know what to do with myself, but because they probably just missed out on they waited for the perfect time to do it.
There is no perfect time.
There is no perfect time.
Because it's a change, like taking a class. If you're not yet in the arts, if you're not yet an actor, or you're not yet taking the classes for that, it is a change in lifestyle to say, you know what, I'm going to start taking a class, which means that has to carve out a piece of time in your schedule that you already have, that you're already filling it with. So it is a change, and that is always difficult.
Yes.
Anytime you change something.
Anytime.
But I also think it's very important. To me, the arts are so drastically important. And I believe every person should be studying some sort of art form. Music, dancing, sculpting, painting.
Yep, I agree.
Acting, anything. Playing an instrument, doesn't matter. But anything. I think there needs to be, I think that affects you in a way where if we're constantly just consumed with social media or consumed with the news or consumed with entertainment, or, if we're not pursuing the artistic side of us, we're only fueling the logical side of us.
If we're not the creative side.
The creative side
you
is
as
what
a
we
human
need.
That's what you are. You are a creative being.
Yes.
Right.
Us in the moment.
Us in the moment. So taking classes in regards to that opens up a part of your humanity that, like you said, indulging in social media or news or whatever it is that you just keep getting through your eyes and ears, your senses, that you're not practicing how to bring something forth from your own self in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the arts are very important.
Because you look at a lot of people who claim they don't have time, and it's like, well, if you walk them through a day, like, well, what are you, if you weren't in class, what would you be doing?
Nobody wants to say that,
Would
Marco.
you be watching a movie? Would you be watching TV? Would you be watching the news? Would you be on social media? Would you be gaming? Like, what are you really doing?
All of the above.
And the thing is, what are you really doing? Not what are you going to tell me that you're doing? Oh, I have this and this and this. Yeah, okay. But what are you really doing?
Yeah. Nope. Nobody wants to go down that rabbit hole.
And cultivating the arts, because it really doesn't exist as much in public school anymore, unfortunately. So it's not being cultivated there. And as adults, because we teach basically adults. We start at 16, but it's mostly over 18 that we teach. And as adults, where the hell in life is art being cultivated? It's unless you're actively pursuing it, it's not given to you anywhere.
Not much is.
Right? It's really not. It's more of what's given to you or that's being thrown in your direction is the fear things, like the need to make money, the need to pay rent, the need to buy the cost of eggs, right? I mean, like that's the stuff that's in our face all the time is all of this. And it has become much more difficult in today's society to pay the bills, to come out of college and be able to support yourself, to be able to do any of that. But it doesn't mean I mean, I believe anyway, it doesn't mean that you should just throw yourself into work only attitude.
Mm-hmm.
You have to balance it out.
Yeah.
Or you become very negative. You have to have some sort of outlet, some sort of release, something.
Yeah. And I think
Anything.
like you said, like you train at 16, and older, it starts there. But you've done as people signing up you've done such a great job, let's say, living in that zone of quote unquote negativity, or you want to call it logical, or however, you've practiced this so much. Maybe give another aspect of your personality or that attention. Like give yourself like, okay, because you get bored a little bit. You kind of atrophy a bit in the body and the mind. I know too, a couple of people that are older in age, and they feel like they're not exercising their neurons. They're not, because they're not.
Right.
When you feel that way, I think it's a signal also to be like, your brain is telling you, I need nutrition. I need something pure, something beautiful. I need something, instead of this constant day in and years. And that can, cause you to never get off the couch. And you could, it's a sad life to live. It's a choice, but I feel like people just need to hear that there are more options out there than just engaging, consuming whatever entertainment you want to call it, consuming this constantly. It feels so wonderful to explore and express and learn how to play that instrument once you kind of start getting the classes. And, it's a beautiful way to like, okay, I'm learning how to play this and this instrument as myself. As an actor, which
because that's why I love acting too. We work on our voice, we work on our physicality, we work on our emotion, we work on our mental focus. We work There's so many different aspects of the human that we work on that it just makes us better people.
It does.
Better people in the sense of meaning a better version of ourselves. Where we can feel more fully engaged with who we are at our core. Which is such a great thing. Yeah.
Because you need that relationship. You need that with yourself.
To me, art is a form of therapy.
I think so too. I think it's you're exploring yourself in different scenarios and situations and seeing what makes you tick, what means this to you. And then at the same time, when you're able to do that and you can do it fluently, you're let's say in advanced classes and all this stuff, and you're picking up material, and not even that it picks up, words and stories from, of all time from the past. So it opens up a whole door that you never would have opened had you not kind of stepped into an acting class, a whole world of options and possibilities and so much. But if you don't do that, it's like you'll never know. Like, so after Truthful or during Truthful, I just remember it's like I didn't get this quality of education in my college or in my
right.
I didn't get this. I didn't get this deep dive into oneself and exploring myself. So I don't know. It's like you said, it's like therapy. It's so good for you.
I just started the new semester at the university, and so I had my first class. And it's always interesting, the first couple classes I have with them, because they're mostly junior seniors. And typically through a collegiate career, it's mostly information, right? College is, the teaching is mostly about getting information, but I don't know. I love seeing, because when I bring up psychology and philosophy and I engage them and I ask them what they think about it, and it's such an interesting thing because they're not used to it.
Right.
And it's it's just weird. I think education overall could be better, but I'm always so surprised. They're like, wow, I've never had a professor, like interact the way you do. I'm like, that's sad. It's a little sad. But I understand, I guess, because there's a lot, depending on what you're taking, of course, math and English and science. Some of the STEMs are more very knowledge based, and like here, you have to learn this formula, learn this thing. But to me, it's engaging. If you don't engage the students and get them to think and make them part of the process, I look at teaching a lot like directing. I don't just want to ever tell actors what to do. The actors need to be engaged and we need to be part of the process together. I'm looking for the actors to give me the answer as much as I'm giving them the answer. And to me, I think teaching needs to be that as well.
Yeah. Collaborative.
It's collaborative. We're there together, working together toward a common goal.
And they, maybe the students and in general, a lot of society, it's very much individualized. You know, you go into yourself in regards to that logical way of studying and thinking. And like, you're not actually reaching out to other students and having these group sessions. You know, there's always like one person doing all the work, you know, and all the others are goofing off because we don't know how to collaborate with a full-fledged team effort. And I think that the arts teach you that, obviously, and then sports, you know, there's something to be said. And I just heard recently about, it talks about intelligence, and they were saying something to the effect that IQ doesn't, nor has it ever measured the full intelligence of a human being. It's just that is one aspect of it.
Right.
And they said that the other aspects that we as a society never took precedence in or importance was their emotional intelligence, their ability to be a team player, their ability to lead. Like there was other things that they're now looking at a full breadth of what that is. Not that you know, like, do you have an IQ of, 170? Oh, you're a loser. Like, bye. Instead, there's so much more that's at stake now, saying like, wait, we might have done a disservice because it shouldn't have been about just what that is.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how there's like a major scope. Anyways, I can go down a rabbit hole, but it was just so interesting because that's what the arts is. It opens up your ability to be with other people at the same goal and artistically, explore something artistically, which is so beautiful because there's no correct answer, just like the more people kind of collaborate that are focused, the better your product will be at the end of the day, I believe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It works on empathy.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have empathy as an actor. And I think, God, do we need empathy in this world right now? As I'm watching, the news of the fires and everything else, of course, if you dare go on social media, there's so much negativity and blame throwing about it's this person's fault, it's that person's fault. It's because, it's like, and it's so politicized negatively that it's like, wait a minute, now's not the time. Like, can we focus on the fact that people are losing their homes? Some of them are losing their lives. Like, this is a disaster. Can we focus on that? And not immediately run to the fear mongering and the blame, which is only on one side of that thing, as you're talking about. It's only up here. It's up in the head. It's not the feelings, the emotional intelligence, which leads into empathy. It's not into the, considering like, okay, well, how do we fix this next time? How like looking forward to, it's not, there's
solution based.
There's no camaraderie.
Yeah.
There's no, hey, we're in this together.
Right.
Let's help the people who are in need and then come back. There's so much just negative blame throwing. And it's, I really do feel social media is the cause of all that.
It doesn't help it, and I guess maybe there's aspects of it that are nice, when you can, or useful when someone is like, yeah, can, send money here or this, that, we're on a podcast, we're using social media, so there's aspects of it that are obviously, useful and beneficial, but how you use that platform, what is it? With great power comes great responsibility. I mean, I hope to believe that only those that are in power are the ones that have the emotional intelligence but that's not reality. That's not everybody anyways, but most people who are in positions of great power want to help others. That's what they're called for.
And we need Spider-Man now more than ever, as I think.
Spider-Man.
But there is a greater responsibility that we're not seeing. And it's not that it's not there. They always said, I always had a saying growing up, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. right? If you're loud enough and you're obnoxious
Is that
enough.
what that means?
Yeah. Right. Because if it's not squeaking, you're not going to get the oil. So if you're, but if you're making enough noise, you get the attention.
Oh.
And so to me, that's where I've seen social media cause that, not in a positive way, but in a negative way.
Yeah.
The negative spinning news cycles. It's like it gets the attention.
Yeah.
It's not good or accurate or anything. But it's just loud and squeaky.
Yeah.
Therefore, it gets the attention.
Mm.
And so we see that whether it's on, Facebook or Twitter or whatever Elon's calling it.
I can't.
He's insisting on that X thing, I guess.
Nobody gets it right. They still keep calling it Twitter. It's so funny.
It will always be the artist formerly known as Twitter.
Don't you dare insult Prince like that. How dare you? That's terrible.
But yeah, it's
a different world that we live in. We didn't have this kind of instant information, telephone platform, internet. We didn't have all this. This is brand new. So we're navigating it through, I think, unfortunately, the best that we can. We can do better, though. We can do better. Do better.
I can't even go on X anymore. It's so negative. And Facebook, and now you have Zuckerberg saying that he's removing all fact checking from Facebook. It's like, okay, what world are we living in right now? So really there is no truth or even facts anymore. Now it's just whatever anyone wants to say.
Right.
And then whatever anyone wants to believe.
Right. And there's an audience for all of that.
What a crazy world.
It's kind of bonkers.
What a crazy world, because it just further divides.
Yeah. And that's what's unfortunate about it.
And that's, coming back to that, that's the unfortunate thing is there's people really hurting right now, still in the aftermath of the hurricanes, still with what's going on with the fires. I mean, and plenty of other things around the world. There's people that are really hurting. And instead of somebody doing something active about it, it's just negativity, which I guess pun intended, it puts fuel onto the fire.
Sorry, that was it. Pun or not, but
But it is. I mean, I guess, it's...
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
It stokes the fire. It keeps it alive versus helps put it out.
Yeah, that's a lot, Marco. And maybe that's for the next one too, because there's so much to
There's so much, but it comes back to the arts. It's by taking away the arts, we're cultivating these new generations of fear, of just using the logical, of just using, I'm going to read a meme and think I'm informed. It's that type of generation.
Yeah.
It's getting into arguments over social media where you don't even know if you're arguing with a person, a bot, someone from a different country, pretending like are you being catfished?
Hello.
You don't even know what's happening.
No, you don't.
And so that's where I think social media has gone awry.
Yeah.
That needs some governance on there at some point, because the negativity is real. And, and it's easy if you get on there, it's easy to get worked up. Because of course, I have friends in that are affected right now in California. And so you read one negative comment of someone being a jackass and you can get worked up too and get pulled into that negative cycle, which I refuse to, but it's easy to do.
Super duper easy. And they said it before, like opinions are like bleep, everyone has them. And that was before social media, because I was alive before. And I remember being anti that at the time. Like, oh yeah, I can turn off someone's opinion because it's just one individual talking. But now it's a whole platform that they have. And that's all it is. It's just a bunch of opinions screaming at you on every single device that you have. And you, as the person in charge of what goes inside of your mind, can, dare I say, delete that shit.
Yeah.
You can take it off your as you should. This past month, I'm sure that people wanted to get a hold of me in regards to the business of acting, all that stuff. But it was Christmas time. And I took it upon myself. I was like, I need to shut it down.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm 30 pounds lighter mentally. I feel like I can breathe a little more. And I'm not even one that is constantly on social media. So someone who is on there all the time, I can't imagine what their mental state is.
Right.
I really can't. Because if you're blasting all of these opinions and all you're doing is absorbing them, what do you think that does to yourself? So taking ownership, it's like we're, as a society, like, I don't know, 9 years of age, like we have to have our own, we have to be responsible for what we're putting and consuming. We have to take ownership of that. And with acting, to kind of bring it into that, it reminds me of when you're in a rehearsal with somebody or you're touring and you're in the moment, you can't bullshit that. So what it is, it's like you're learning how to focus. I think several classes I've talked to some of the students, like I believe it's a game of focus. So you're able to exercise that machine, that element that you have. Everyone has it, but it's just the inability to practice it, rehearse it, repetition it.
Yeah.
It's a constant. So that's also another reason why training in the arts, especially taking classes, it allows that part of your brain to open up more subconsciously. Because we all as a society have a choice. We don't have to be on Facebook. Just because I have 900 friends or 9,000 friends doesn't mean that they're all my friends. I could count on these 2 fingers how many friends I really have. So why did we as a society jump on a bandwagon and give everybody information? And I have, someone from high school and, 8th grade who was a bully to me then. Now it's asinine when you really truly think about it. So we got to get better as a society. Like what do we want to sign up for? What are we really doing? What are we giving energy towards? And it's not everybody, but maybe the slow log off, maybe that'll happen eventually. Maybe people will stop, just turn it all off. Maybe, I don't know.
I hope.
I wonder if the next generation is going to be like, Dad, can I get a flip phone? I'm sick of Facebook. They're going to open that up. I don't see why not.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. I don't think Dad's going to get a flip phone. Yeah.
Maybe we'll go back to cursive writing.
I can do it.
I can do it.
Yeah. So we just also have to take responsibility of what we're listening to, really.
Yeah.
Because it's not everything that all of these. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 screens in front of me. And that's not even our phones, 5, 6.
Right.
If these were all on.
5, 6, there's one behind you, 7.
There's one behind 7. Who are we? Yeah. Who are we? What do you call it? Like praying to? What are we causing? What is coming in our house constantly? What are we giving power over to? And, because she wore it better, she's skinnier, she got whatever the hell it is.
Right.
It's crazy.
Well, because whatever, we're still consuming it. I like using that word consuming.
Yeah.
Consuming media, whether you're watching a movie, a TV show, news, social media, a game, it doesn't matter.
Yes,
you're
you
consuming
are.
that.
Yum, 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 yum.
Right. Just like food. So we're feeding different sides of us. So when we're consuming things, we're feeding the mind more than anything else. It's the logic side of us. It's our fear side, basically. Now, we watch a movie, for the most part, we know the difference between what's real and imaginary, but we're still feeding those sides of us.
Yeah.
And so when we're on social media, just reading threads of negativity, we're feeding that fear side of us. And unless we also feed the artistic side, the creative side, the love side of us, unless we also feed that, we're very easily out of balance.
Yes.
If all you watch is a single news channel, then very quickly that's all you will believe.
And that's what you believe is your identity. And you will die for your identity. I just heard that too recently. And I was like, that is so true.
Yes.
Like that, it builds a path that way.
Yeah, it does. And as a human race, we need to learn how to come together, not be so divisive. And that's what art can do. And that's why I love acting so much, is acting is about bringing people together. The slogan for the theater is uniting humanity through the arts, one story at a time. Right? That's it. We're uniting people, because sitting in a theater, watching something together, going through an experience together, we're all human at the end of the day. It's just we have different stuff in our head. It's amazing. And it takes, the easy approach always is to judge and criticize, because that's the fearful approach. It's a fearful approach, meaning a cowardly approach to judge and criticize. It takes more strength. It takes more courage to actually look and empathize and say, and not to say there can't be critical thinking involved in how to improve it.
Right.
But to just blame someone, say, oh, that's a bad person. That's a bad, oh, they're horrible. They're this, they're that. When you're constantly doing that, that's a cowardly approach
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't take any effort to do that.
No.
It doesn't take any insight to do that. It doesn't take any knowledge to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, artists are more armed with the ability to see both sides of things. Artists can, because that's what we do. We step into different lives. We step into different points of view, and we have to have that ability to do that. We learn how to do that. Because without that ability, it's very easy to sit on a single side of something, meaning whatever your unique side of your wedge is, and just say everyone else around me is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's religious, whether it's political, whether it's family, whatever it is. And so that's why I think the arts are so incredibly important, is it teaches us to think and feel beyond our world.
Yeah.
And we can, just think of some of the characters you've played and they're different than you are.
Yes. I hope they are, as they should be, in my opinion.
As they should be. But there's no way, right? But as an artist, you're able to step into something completely different
Mm-hmm.
versus most human beings wouldn't even allow themselves to.
Right. It's very true. And because they practice so much of being, like you said, one-sided on something.
Right.
And they've built that muscle up so strong that it's turned into who they are as a human being. And then to reverse engineer that one, it's possible if they took some classes in the arts.
That's the thing, because we learn how to do that. One of the first things we learn as an actor is that we must never judge the character we play. Meaning, if I'm casting something, character X, right, and I'm going to play this character X, if immediately I say, "Oh wow, this guy's an asshole,"
Mm-hmm.
right? "Oh God, I hate this guy. This guy's horrible." The moment I say that, I've just now negated my ability to play that character.
Mm-hmm.
Because my job, I should not, Marco, should not have a subjective view of this character once I'm cast.
Mm-hmm.
Once I'm cast, no, I need to step in
Right.
to this life and inhabit this person fully, and then fight for that point of view as if it's my own, and fight fully. If I judge it, I won't ever be able to step into to that point of view fully, or fight for that point of view fully. So we have to have the ability. That's where empathy comes in, to adjust our point of view. And when I say that, we're not adjusting our sociological point of view. It's not me, Marco, adjusting my point of view in life, but for this role, I have to put down what I believe momentarily and step into something else. And I think that's so magical when we do that.
It's a tremendous exercise in empathy. Tremendous.
And then we care for what those people.
Mm-hmm. And then you, as the Marco, as the human, after you step out of that, you have a bird's eye view now of a kind of a different picture of someone else. You have the ability to empathize with them. So it's not just like one-sided or from you. Now you've opened you've expanded.
Yes.
There's something about being an actor that does that. I don't know how else. I don't play I don't play any instruments. I don't paint, but there's something for me that talks to me of being an actor, that I can do this. That when I do this, I can only get it through acting. It's kind of crazy.
But you're a dancer.
Yes.
So are there any crossovers?
Yes, there are. But since I only have one thing that I'm working from as a dancer, if you will. Now I'm using my emotions, I'm using my body. But the acting, there's like
it's using
psyche.
Everything. Yeah.
There's a something about it.
Okay.
That makes it, maybe for me, just for me, makes it much more locked in. So even if I go back to dancing, which I intend to, all of the stuff that I've learned with acting, oh my God, I can't wait to utilize it with that. I cannot wait to utilize it with Chekhov. I cannot wait to have that, because there's just something that when I'm done, I can look down and I can see like, oh, wow, this was Natalie before she had this role, and this is Natalie after. And now I have a place in my brain and my heart that I can look at someone like this and have miles of openness within my heart. So, there's just something about it, something about acting. Mm-hmm.
So when you were in Gideon's Knot, in Corinne, was that somebody you could relate to immediately, or is that somebody you had to work to relate to?
Oh, I had to work. Definitely. She was way smarter than me. She had a child. Like I had to work my ass off to get there because I can't understand. Like my education didn't go far at all. And like she's got a PhD, like just so much. The way that she was with the teacher and society in general, someone who like had she didn't care about what someone thought about her, someone who was very willing, a willing force. And I'm completely its opposite. I'm, loving force of love ball energy.
Yeah.
I will keep myself quiet. And anyways, it's like her ability to be just in her own skin and not care what anybody thought of how she looked, how she acted, like zero apologies. Oh my God. Totally different world. And when the words of the scripts and all of the work from the acting collide, you morph into something else for a bit. And you're just thinking like, wow, I would love to be like her. I can't imagine being that strong and that powerful and fighting for something in that term. Oh my God. We need people like that. And maybe in reality, I think that some people are like, wow, she's a bit abrasive or she's a bit, but we all need each other.
Yeah.
And to understand each other's points of view, even though we might disagree completely. Like you said, the easiest thing is just to judge it and think like, they're just uneducated, whatever folks that whatever it is. But instead, like there's a reason that they believe what they believe.
Right.
And maybe somewhere we can meet in the middle.
Right.
And that's what I'd like to hope for.
Maybe we can actually talk.
Yeah. And then maybe we can figure something out or start. But definitely, because let's say you were a writer and you were writing about this time and 20 years from now, like there's going to be some very interesting material, but everybody's stories they're different from each other because we have different points of view, but they're just as important.
Right.
No one wants to be left unheard.
Right.
And so if there's a way that we can have dialogue together, and that's what acting teaches you.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it teaches us how, we can come together and work together on a common goal.
I think so. It gives you space to hear someone else's point of view instead of being so spiky and abrasive when nobody can come in and change my point of view. You give it like credence, like, okay, I'm listening. And I think acting too, that's what it's about.
And if anyone out there is considering, starting a semester with us, just know that our classes are like that too. It's a non-judgmental, non-critical zone where we try to create a space of safety where you can come in and just be you and be heard and be listened to and express and do all the wonderful things that acting allows you to do, but without ever worrying about the judgment and the criticism and all of that pettiness that does exist in the world. But by doing that in the realm of acting, especially, to me, it helps you as a human being grow. It helps you uncover some of the junk that you have that you need to get rid of. It helps you move beyond that. It's very therapeutic.
I agree.
So it's definitely something to
good for the soul.
Consider. It's good for the soul. I love it. I love acting. I think I love directing more, but I love acting.
That's a whole nother, because that blows my mind.
Yeah. Well, going from an actor to, but if I was given a choice of doing one or the other, I think I would choose directing.
You were very good at directing.
I love it.
But it's because you're a very good actor. Like you know what I mean? It makes sense. It makes sense. I don't think I've met someone who's a terrible actor and then a great director. I don't know. I don't know. I've never met.
Yeah, because most great directors have done acting.
Right?
Yeah, not all, but most.
Yeah.
Even ones that you don't think about, they never studied acting. It's like, you'd be surprised if you actually looked.
Yeah.
Even the Spielbergs of the world have studied acting and, they understand it. There's a reason Nolan is so good at what he does. Tarantino was an actor.
Yeah.
It's Bryce Dallas Howard is mostly an actor learning from her father, Ron Howard, as a director and an actor.
Yeah. And that's where she's probably going to end up.
And when you watch and everyone, before even if you don't know like who she is, so many people watch the series, The Mandalorian, And all of a sudden, it's like, wow, I loved those 2 episodes. And I was like, yeah, those are the ones that Bryce Dallas Howard directed.
Bam.
It was like, that's why they were so good. They were so human.
Yeah.
Which, she learned that. She learned that as an actor. And it's amazing. It's really, it's such a cool art form.
Yeah.
And it's also in the moment.
Yes.
It gets you out of your head,
And
worrying about everything that we have to worry about.
and playing. It's so much. We can go on and on and on.
And so to me, I know today's society makes it even more difficult. There's more excuses that you have. It's like, well, the cost of living, I have to work so much, I have to this, I have to that. And I get it. And it's not that you don't. Of course you have to work and pay rent and all of those things. But there is time to carve out, if you can find, to work on yourself just a little bit. And if you can take an art class, whether it's an acting class with us or somewhere else, if you could take that, it's not that you're spending money on something. It's you're investing in yourself.
How about this? You cannot afford, you cannot afford not to? No, you can't afford not to is what it is. I'll get there eventually. That's another growing pain. There are certain things that you can't not do it.
Right.
It's going to give you something back so much. So I would see it like you see it as an investment or something that you're getting back to yourself.
Well, yeah, you're giving it back.
Quality.
What we might think is like, oh, well, I have an extra, couple $100. Should I invest it in the stock market? Should I buy a lotto ticket?
I love that. So did somebody tell you that? Yeah. Like, yeah, you should. No,
it's but it's like, like investing things in yourself.
Yeah.
Or because we put money in things of like, oh,
should
I might
buy
need this,
these
I might need
slides? Should I, buy whatever? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't. But
Right. But it could be that. But instead of, it's like, no, because what I see is so many people who will spend hundreds of dollars on therapy.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm all for therapy. I think therapy is wonderful. I just think it's too expensive, and it's not funded properly by healthcare. Yada 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 yada. But I'm a big believer in therapy. But you'll spend that, and that isn't an investment in yourself. But to me, acting is so therapeutic.
Yeah,
you could do that and get something that is more long-term as well. And so I think to me, that's why you have to look at it in the same level of self-care as therapy or other of those type of things.
Yep.
It's self-care and it's investing in you. And there's nothing more important out there than yourself.
Insurance should cover this.
Oh, insurance should cover this. Yeah,
I know.
It should. So, well, and that's actually all the time we have on that note on that. So, all right, everyone. Well, thank you so much. It's so great to be back. This is our first of many for this year. But we'll be back dropping new episodes every Monday. And I don't know. I'm so glad to be back with you, Nat.
Ditto, Marco. I'm so happy to be here.
So everyone out there, thank you so much. Please reach out to us if you have any questions about our upcoming semester or anything else we have going on. And we will see you again soon.
Ciao.
All right, bye, everyone.
If you'd like to learn more about our studio and what we do, you can find us online at truthfulacting.com. And check out truthfulactingonline.com for our Learn at Home at Your Own Pace courses.
So what I told you was true, from a certain point of view.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
I know what you're trying to do.
I'm trying to free your mind, but I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it.